just like, okay, he's gonna be a doctor. And it's just like that was it almost.
Yeah, they kind of just threw us something, bro. That's bro. That's Takashi kind of just threw us a bone there. You know what I mean? He kind of was just like, yeah, this happened. All right, let's show you this. Kuwabara's a doctor. Like that's kind of how it happened. Like, and I was just like, come on, bro. Like that's it. Hey, that's my man. Like that's it, bro. Like I was like, damn, son.
Yeah, it's kind
So
of.
it's gonna be that one character that gets a short end of the stick.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Flow. It's your host, always, River. And today I have Omar with me. I also have Sin, aka Synsei Inc.
Yeah, what's going on, bro? I appreciate you first and foremost for inviting me. I love talking about Yu Yu Hakusho, so man, I'm excited to get into the podcast today. Get to talk about my favorite anime.
Alright, for sure. Let's get it. So today is going to be our last episode of the Yu Yu Hakusho Virgins podcast. We're just talking about our final thoughts and then going over a little review and summary. So also, guys, make sure you guys go check out Synsei Inc. if you haven't already on YouTube. We'll make some dope content for sure. So check them out if you haven't.
Appreciate it. And all my homies that's checking this out from my side of things when I post it or whatever when it gets posted, make sure that you check these guys' content out as well. Make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe to them. You feel me? If you enjoy the content.
All right, thank you, man. Much appreciated.
For sure.
All right, so first of all, I just want to go ahead and see Omar. So what were your overall thoughts on Yu Yu Hakusho, man, after watching it for the first time?
Let's see here. Yu Yu Hakusho, I must say, is definitely up there on my list now since I watched it. It has good arcs, phenomenal characters. I like the characters a lot, whether they show up for one arc or they show up for the entirety of the series.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know, it's just, I liked it a lot when I watched it. Like, when I was waiting for you to send me how many episodes you watched so we could catch up with each other, I was getting hyped. I was like, fuck yes, about time.
Yeah,
I would have been finished if it wasn't for for the Virgins podcast.
yeah, I was slacking a little bit. I was pretty busy, but yeah, just to get my overall thoughts, I'll say I really liked it too. It's definitely in my top 10 favorite anime now. I really enjoyed the characters a lot, and just seeing going from arc to arc, just from the beginning and all the way, to the end, just everything that happened, everyone's character development and stuff. And Yusuke as a main character is so goated, and then obviously hiei, kurama, and kuwabara are just great side characters, some of the best in all of anime. Togashi makes great characters, so
For sure.
yeah. So Sensei, or Sen, what, I know it's your favorite anime, but why is Yu Yu Hakusho your favorite anime? What would you say about it?
Man, that's a very open-ended question for me, but I'll try to summarize it, not go on too long of a rant.
Gotcha.
Yu Yu Hakusho to me, because of Yusuke Urameshi, Kuwabara in conjunction together, I felt very related to their characters growing up as a teenager when I finally came back and watched it. A little quick story, and I talked about this on a video that you mentioned. When I was younger, I first peeped Yu Yu Hakusho when I was really young. My mom caught me watching it, and back then it was uncensored. So Yusuke would by the way, y'all cool with me cussing on air and shit?
Yeah,
I mean with stuff.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
But yeah, back then, bro, Yusuke would say, things like damn it and ass and things like that. Not too many bad, very, very bad cuss words, but too bad for, a 4 or 5 year old to be watching, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
mom cut it off. But I always remembered it stuck in my head because I remember that one episode I seen. It was during the training arc when Yusuke and Kuwabara went to Genkai. They were trying to get stronger, and I just always remembered it. But I couldn't remember the name. One day I was like 13, 14. I finally figured it out. started watching this. Now, as a young teenager, like going back to my previous point, I felt mad relatable to Yusuke because of that whole delinquent trope. Anything to do with being young, rebellious, being rough around the edges is something I feel like some teenagers we can relate to at times because we go through those rebellious stages, those delinquent stages at time in our life.
For sure.
So I got into it a lot because of that. But then I started to see that Yusuke was one of those characters, like some of his, the people that came after him. You think of like Ichigo Kurosaki is the first one I think of. You see that same delinquent trope of that rough around the edge character that has a soft spot for the people around him they care for. And when I noticed Yusuke having that, for people that's around him, your kuwabaras, your hieis, your kuramas, and stuff like that, those people that are on Team Urameshi, he cares for them heavily, even though he shows his love differently, right? Very tough love, I guess you could say. A lot of picking on them and, jokes and stuff like that. But he does care for them and he'll put his life on the line for them. And I think that's what's so fire. And I just love Yusuke's character because of that. So, and I promised I wouldn't go too long. So I think in closing, Yusuke as an MC is what made me fall in love with the show. His character interactions with everybody else around him, the awesome characters that are around him that have their own character and their own unique traits to themselves, but also can work in conjunction with him to make the story and the plot, they all drive the plot. There's more than just one protagonist. Yusuke isn't always the protagonist. Sometimes Kuwabara takes that spot, or Hiei takes that spot, Kurama takes that spot. Even times where Genkai might have took that spot. Sometimes, but these characters all drive the plot, and it's just a beautiful story, but it's also fun, short to the point, and there's tons of action. I mean, who doesn't love hands at the end of the day? You feel me? We all love hands. So, yeah, bro. That's pretty much, I guess, the best answer I can give you.
Yeah, for sure. So I think all the points you made definitely valid, and I really completely agree. For me, it's not quite my favorite, but it's definitely up there. And I would say that overall, it's just a great show, and definitely Yusuke as the main character definitely did a lot, but as well as, like you said, the side characters, and it was just great. Like going from the first arc where he first get hit by the car. I know you made the joke in your video about how he got hit by like the Honda Civic, and that was pretty funny to me. But like from that happening and then him being able to be brought back to life from even Kuwabara not even knowing. So that was like just them starting out, and then their bond over time and the bond Yusuke grows with all of them. I'm definitely with you on like how it just wasn't Yusuke dropping it, and then his relationships as well definitely carried the show. I'm interested to hear your thoughts as well on what he was saying. So if you have anything to say.
What?
So I was interested to hear your thoughts on what he was saying as well, if you had anything to say about it.
Let's see here. Yeah, he made some valid points. I'm not gonna lie. Like everything he said really did come together. Like I couldn't have said it better. He's since it's his favorite anime, he would think a lot about it from his childhood and whatnot. But since I'm watching it now, I don't have that kind of like connection to Yu Yu Hakusho besides watching it for the past few months.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But yeah, I like how he said about the characters, how Yusuke is the protagonist, and then the side characters just tie it up together like it's a perfect knot. It won't be undone. Like, and the fact that the side characters can also be a protagonist too is pretty good.
For sure. Yeah, so let's see. Going into the first arc, obviously we had it was the Spirit Detective arc, and that's when he first meets Kurama and Hiei, and then Kuwabara is really introduced as well, and we get to see that dynamic. And I think one of the biggest things that I enjoyed was like just the progression of the relationship between all four of them, and obviously then Genkai as well coming into the mix later on the rest. But I think that just the progression from that. So like the progression between all of their relationships. I was curious on your guys' thoughts on how you thought about the progression of their relationships and towards the end when it like how it climaxed in the end, like their relationships over the whole story. I was just curious about that. That's what I meant to say.
Yo, the relationship as far as the main cast, you're asking?
Yeah, so like from when they were first introduced in the Spirit Detective saga,
Oh,
the Three Kings saga, like
man, bro, I think what's so beautiful about that, the first thing I think of is Hiei, right? Hiei sticks out to me because I feel like out of everybody, Hiei had the toughest time adjusting to the team. Because Hiei has this mindset because he's a demon that he's better than them. That's why a lot of times when he's speaking, there's even times where him and Kurama will be involved in a team and he'll crack a joke. Like there's this one time he cracked a joke talking to Kuwabara and saying, you know, him and Kurama were there to, you know, basically babysitter to take over.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they always have that. He has this mindset that as demons, they're superior to human beings. So and Kurama, you know, Kurama, he's a demon, but he's more laid back and lax compared to Hiei. Hiei's more outspoken. Of course, Kurama speaks out when he needs to, but Hiei is the loud one, right? So it was tough for him. I feel like the most to adjust to being in a team with, you know, the spirit detective, this other human in Kuwabara. And so, but it's beautiful seeing up until the Three Kings, the dynamic, because Hiei starts out as an antagonist. So he's it's one of those situations where him and Yusuke had their situation, and then Hiei loses, and now on his mind, it's like, okay, I gotta like surpass him. I can't lose again. If we ever are to combat again, I can't lose to this guy again. So there's a whole like slight rivalry between Yusuke and Hiei that I love. And of course Kuwabara, even though him and Yusuke's relationship's hilarious because they started out, you know, as, you know, childhood students. Like they're both students. They grew up around each other. They went to the same school. And when you first see Kuwabara, you get the idea that Kuwabara is like the school bully and he's like the tough guy. And then you see Yusuke completely obliterate him and his friends. But there's like a slight love there. You know, it's weird because when you see Yusuke beat him up, you're like, okay, do they not like each other? But you could kind of see this small camaraderie there. And that really kind of culminates and peaks after the funeral for Yusuke in the beginning. You see how Kuwabara acted going there. He was upset because he lost someone that he cared for. You know what I mean? And that's when we really get to see his relationship with Yusuke and what it really means to him, which is, you know, again, awesome. And it's just nice seeing them all kind of grow together throughout the story, man. And I feel like towards the end in the last arc, I'm sure I don't want to jump too ahead. We'll get there, but that whole dynamic and how things shifted is interesting as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the Kuwabara thing, like you see that he keeps coming back and trying to fight Yusuke, even though he knows he's gonna lose. He keeps coming back over and over, and it's just you see that clearly he cares for Yusuke a little bit, even though they're rivals. It's like they kind of have that bond to where like they always want to compete with each other.
Exactly.
You know, it's so one sided. Yeah. So
do you watch? Quick question: do you watch One Piece?
I haven't seen that much, but I know
okay.
Omar's caught up all the way. So
okay, so it's like Omar will probably understand this. It's kind of like Kuwabara and Yusuke remind me of Azoro and Sanji in a way. Like in a lot of ways.
Right.
You know what I mean? They got this competitiveness nature to each other, and but there's love there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they brothers, but they show they love by being tough to each other, beating each other up, and competing. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Oh man, that also reminds me about how you could say it's kind of like, let's see here, for the hiei, for what you said in the beginning when you first saw the hiei, I was thinking the same exact thing the moment you said it. Like, I was like, I definitely thought hiei because like the fact that he hated humans. He thought he was better than everyone. He's the strongest there is around. until Yusuke pulls up with some ridiculous like scheme to knock him down. It was funny to me. How it's also like how Vegeta first said in Dragon Ball Z in the Saiyan saga. How Vegeta came up, said we're going to destroy the planet, calls himself elite, and he is just a lowly warrior. And Vegeta gets his ass handed by Goku, but Goku is definitely down there as well. So that was the first thing I thought of. Or you could think about how in Naruto, with Naruto and Sasuke, how Sasuke is always trying to catch up to Naruto, but Naruto's always thinking he got to catch up to Sasuke. So it's a little bit like that too. But yeah, that's sure. But that's Zoro and Sanji for Kuwabara and Yusuke. You definitely hit it home with there.
Yeah, bro, it's very similar, man. Hey, River, I'm gonna need you peep the One Piece, bro. What's going on? Like, you feel me? We here for the Yu Yu Hakusho, but can we get a One Piece version? That's what I'm saying. Like, can we get that? I mean,
yeah, I get you. I'm with you, but I didn't want to completely copy the Rant Cafe. If you've seen,
bro, you know how many people I seen it, but you know how many people have made One Piece versions, bro? Like, a lot of people have, bro. They don't care. I think they've said on the stream one time that they actually think it's cool that people are doing it, and you know, it's kind of, they feel like they're inspiring others. So like, I know all of them personally. They definitely wouldn't care, bro, if you did that for sure.
Okay, bet, bro. Well, we will have to do it then for sure, because I would say like I got to like Alabasta, but like I've just been pretty busy, and One Piece is like a lot to take on.
It's a lot, bro. It's a lot. But when you do that one, you gotta bring me back for that last episode too, for sure.
Bro, perfect, definitely, we'll have to. But I would just say
it's definitely a journey.
Yeah, it's just that I'm trying to, like, I haven't seen a ton of anime. Like, I've probably seen like 20, 25 shows at this point. So there's a lot of other anime I'm trying to get into, and it's like, if I watch One Piece, I can't really watch all of them because it's like I want to be focused on One Piece. So I'll definitely get to it, but it's just been a little difficult for me. But to get back to Yu Yu, one thing I wanted to say about Hiei and Yusuke, since you brought that up again, is that after their first fight when Yusuke beat him, and then they fought again when Hiei came back, and that fight was awesome. I really enjoyed that one. And they never, like, they basically tied in that one, and Hiei never was able to really fight him again after that one. They never actually had a end victor. So I thought that was one thing that they maybe could have, I don't know, came back to, even though it would be kind of difficult since they weren't really enemies again. But like, it just would have been maybe cool to see them fight again to see who, you know, could have won. Even though it probably would have been Yusuke, I think it would have been cool to see that. But yeah, just going on to like, since this is kind of an overall review, just maybe to start out at like the Spirit Detective arc, which I know we really liked that as an opening arc. And I was just curious what your thoughts were on it, seeing as an opening arc.
Oh man, so Yu Yu Hakusho starts off like, this is how it kind of goes for me, right? It starts off with a slow progression, because the beginning, just like the beginning of like mini series, is setup, right? The setup. So, and by setup I mean you get to know the characters, kind of the premise of the story, what is going to be the driving force of the story. So with the beginning part, the whole thing with the car happens, he comes back to, you know, completing those tasks, and then you're at a situation where it's like, all right, cool, this is what Yusuke is about to do, this is what the story is going to be about, these are some of the characters, boom. So the setup, I loved it. I felt like it had a strong start. Isn't my favorite arc by any means throughout the series, but still, it was strong. Good start. And then it slowly progresses up and peaks, in my opinion, at Dark Tournament. Then there's like a small trickle down, not too much, a small, but yeah, it's barely any. Small trickle down for a little bit more setup and world building too, which we'll get to, of course, when we get there. And then again, peaks again. Chapter Black is gas. Super fire arc. Some people, I am a Dark Tournament fanboy, but I'm not mad at people that think Chapter Black is better than Dark Tournament. I'm not mad at people that think that. Like, they're both great. Synsei and Toguro are both great antagonists. I think Synsei's a better written antagonist, but I think Togoro's cooler. Like, he's got more hype to him, if that makes sense. So it's like, Both arcs are great. I'm not mad at whoever likes which one more than the other. And then we get the last arc has had its issues. You know, a lot of it due to editors. Togashi, they're kind of like back and forth, and Togashi being rushed in some places, not agreeing with some of the things the editors wanted to do with the manga, which it happens. You feel me? It happens sometimes. It happened with Kubo. Kubo, same thing with his last arc. He had to, you know, rush a lot of things because he was on a time constraint. You know, unfortunately, when it comes to Shonen Jump, it's like when something is ending, they don't give you a lot of time. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, you got this many weeks to finish, and then that's just kind of how it is. So, it was just a lot going on. Not making excuses for him, but that's why a lot of times, bro, you see in series endings sometimes fall flat. In a lot of series, this isn't just in Yu Yu Hakusho, man. You look at a lot of recently with Attack on Titan. I don't know if you're familiar with that. There's a whole debacle. I said that as there's an Attack on Titan picture on the Discord, but yeah, there's a whole debacle, as you know, online with that ending, and you know, sometimes the endings can fall flat and it can really hurt a series. But I think Yu Yu Hakusho, it was a good enough ending, and everything else was good enough that and the timing was so good that it'll be a timeless classic in my opinion. Most people show Yu Yu Hakusho love. Would y'all agree? I don't really see a lot of people hating on it.
It's kind of like if you've seen it, you kind of love it. Like you have a great appreciation for it.
Even if it's not your favorite, like you said, it's not your favorite, but it's up there. Like you appreciate it. You know what I mean? And not a lot of series you can say that about. You know what I mean? That's like not that everybody respects. You know what I mean? So
maybe besides One Piece.
Yeah, One Piece. But I mean, even One Piece has its haters. Everything has its haters. But I feel like with One Piece, it's just a loud minority because they're so how massive One Piece is, right? You know what I mean? Like it's so big that like it's a different scale. You know what I mean? It's much more easier to find haters for that. But to get back on Yu Yu Hakusho, yeah, bro, that's kind of how I go. A good progression. It peaked, a little small trickle up, another peak, and then kind of plateau with the ending. But beautiful though. I love the beginning arc for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think looking back on it, like what you said, with just introducing the characters and introducing the world and everything like that, like it was definitely a strong setup. Because when we first were watching it, we were already kind of like, yeah, this is solid. But now, like looking back, I'm like, okay, because you see where everything went and with the progression, and like inducing hiei and kurama so early in the way they were introduced, and just to show that progression throughout, and then as well as kuwabara and yusuke relationship like we already talked about. I think that seeing that progression and the way the opening arc introduced it all, it definitely kind of ties it all up when you're looking back at it. And for me, in my opinion on the ending, honestly, I kind of like I like the beginning of the last arc, but you can definitely see what you're saying with Togashi and the editors and whatnot, and like that and the stroke at the end. But honestly, I mean the ending still kind of felt alright. Like it didn't feel like a terrible ending in my opinion, but like it definitely wasn't the best. It just kind of
wasn't the best.
Struggle. It just kind of struggled at the end. Yeah,
for sure. Everything has its flaws, bro. It is what it is. But it's same with, like I said, with Attack on Titan, bro. I didn't really enjoy the ending myself, but I'm not gonna say just because I didn't like the ending now Attack on Titan wasn't great. You know, all the other times. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not going to discredit an entire series off of that. And you know, I feel like sometimes people do that, and it's unfortunate. But I think, you know, just like with Yu Yu Hakusho, with time, Attack on Titan, people will start to, you know, understand what it did do. Because I feel like, you know, again, not to get off topic, but I feel like shows like Attack on Titan, it changed a lot for anime, bro. It came out and really went crazy, like crazy. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what happened with. Yeah, bro, and I feel like that's what happened when Yu Yu Hakusho. Over time, people start to like forgive certain things, you know, because they start to respect the great things that series did do when it wasn't its, you know, at its peak. So, and that's how I feel about, you know, Yu Yu Hakusho. I feel like after a while, people are like, yeah, you know, the ending wasn't that great, but the series is still good, you know. So.
Yeah, and I will just say this: me and Omar are both anime only for Attack on Titan, so we don't know the ending yet. I'm curious to see maybe if they will change it for the anime or not, considering all the backlash.
I think they will. I think they will, bro. And I say this because I noticed that the mangaka tried to make an addendum to its ending. He tried to redo it and make it a little better. It kind of fell flat, and it kind of ended up worse. People kind of were criticizing him even more so, because he did that, which, you know, is what it is. But I will say, I think that because of that, I think that he will try to be involved with the anime as much as possible and make sure that those things that he wanted represented and to come across do come across in the anime. So
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully they do that. Just because, I mean, it would be cool because then, I mean, since I haven't actually seen the ending yet, I mean, I obviously don't want to be disappointed, and like it almost seems like it's almost building up for me to be disappointed. But I mean, hopefully, you know, it'll still be solid in the anime. So yeah, but to get back onto you again, you know, we got a little bit off topic, but that's kind of what we do a lot here. I mean, you aren't.
yeah, it's all good, bro.
Like,
it's a podcast, bro. It's just how it happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Omar will tell you, like we be talking about the most randomest shit. Like in a podcast will be about like Yu Yu Hakusho or something else. We'll be talking about something way off topic, like not even about anime almost at that point.
He's not wrong, man. Oh my god.
I mean, I like to think it's enjoyable also. Yeah, so
we're just out there, man.
Facts. So, Omar, bro, I did want to get your opinion as well on the opening arc, since now you can look back on it, see what your thoughts were.
Well, for as an opening arc, you would think at first that it would turn out into a isekai, since the fact that he died in the beginning, like any other isekai series. But then later on, when he comes back to life, and then like he's a spirit detective, since he talked to Koenma and whatnot. They made a deal about the egg and whatever. And then he comes, and then it just fit. I mean, you wouldn't have told it any other way with Yu Yu Hakusho. The fact that with kuwabara and school, the girl beatings, and then with his first case that had kurama and hiei in it and whatnot, and then it's up there, man. It's really up there as an opening arc.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so now I would say moving on to the Dark Tournament, which like a lot of people say is a peak and even like one of the best arcs in like all of anime, just in general. I really enjoyed it a lot personally. I did think that the only gripe that I have with the arc was the fact that they brought Genkai back. I kind of thought maybe if she stayed dead, that would have potentially been better.
Yeah.
I was curious what your thoughts on that, Synsei.
Man, the whole this character's dead, psych, this character's back thing happens so often, bro, in anime and manga, and it's like I can understand on one hand why Tagashi went the route, but do I like it? I can't say that I did. Like, I didn't hate it, but I think that especially with the whole cave scene with Pooh and Yusuke, one of the most emotional scenes, you know, and then the spirit gun for Genkai moment, there's just like so much emotion in those moments, and you just like can feel the sorrow in Yusuke, the pain in him, and you start to feel that pain too.
Definitely.
So when Genkai comes back, it diminishes that. And I feel like if a mangaka is going to kill a character off and have them return, they shouldn't make so many emotional moments, I feel, to get us to come to terms with them being out of the story if they're just going to bring them back. Because I feel like that really messes up the momentum of it. Because especially with, you know, that peak moment, the spirit gun for Genkai, that is like a crazy moment, and it's like that's when I really thought to myself, Genkai's gone.
Yeah.
And then boom, she's not.
Like 2 episodes.
So, and it's just like I don't know if it was a situation where weekly fans were upset Genkai was gone that he brought her back. I don't really know because I didn't live in the moment. But I just feel like Genkai being gone, um, it should have remained that way, and it's unfortunate. And I just hope that mangakas can learn, but it's just like a lot of times in series this happens, man. It happens a lot in One Piece. So Omar knows there's characters you think might be dead, and then no, they're not. They're back up like 2 chapters later, 2 episodes later. So it's just like it happens, bro. It happens sometimes, and I don't like it. Um, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it, bro. I guess in a nutshell, I didn't really like it that much.
Yeah, see, I would agree with you. And in the podcast, we actually talked about Dark Tournament. We had Timmy on, who he said he couldn't be here today, but he wished he could be. He has work, but he said he definitely would want to meet you at some point. But he we had an argument about this, and he was saying how he felt like it was fine to bring her back and like just to move the story forward. It was better to have her as a character there. And my argument was basically what you just said. It was like I feel like it takes away from the emotional moments that Yusuke had, and we saw how hurt he was in the scene where she died, and just to see that firsthand, and then everything that happened and his depression that he went through over that dark tournament, which was another big theme that I really enjoyed throughout it. And then it almost just seemed like, oh well, now she's back. Well, what did we just go through all that for? It was just kind of like a
Yeah, for sure, bro.
it was kind of
It
frustrating.
it felt like a fu, bro, a little bit. You know what I mean? It felt like Tagashi like was like, "Oh, I got you really sad about this for no reason." You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Like that episode almost made me cry, like when she died, and it was like, oh well, here we are with her back again. But it's like, um, just Yusuke like basically finally overcame it. Like with his fire to girl, he almost overcame all his grief and like all the struggles he had been going with. It felt like he finally overcame that hump, and I was curious to see how he was gonna move forward, dealing with that pain, and then like what was gonna happen since now he almost overcame it. Like how he was gonna be emotionally and whatnot mentally. So and then to just see her come back, we kind of missed out on what that could have been. And it's almost like a another theme that kind of got lost that we could have seen progress throughout the series. But it is what it is, and she did have her moments when she was back, so which were kind of cool. So that's almost a consolation prize. But
yeah, I would have loved to see the character progression in him from that moment too. I agree with you,
yeah. So Omar, what were your like overall thoughts on the Dark Tournament arc now that we're looking back at it?
It's probably my favorite arc in Yu Yu. Just to like say the least. I mean, of course, there's the Genkai thing, where I'm glad that we're all on the same page about this. How it would help us the character development, see how everyone would turn out afterwards, and it just yeah, you really had to be in the moment to see why they bring back Genkai, like Sen said with that. But yeah, overall. I liked Taguro. I don't like the elder Taguro, but Taguro was like probably my favorite antagonist in the show.
Yeah, like definitely the Elder girl was kind of a bitch. Like when he was talking about Genkai at that one point, I just wanted to like I just wanted to punch it through the TV. I was like, bro, what are you doing? That just made me so
Real.
mad.
That's why Kuwabara got mad.
Yeah, no. And then I know like the whole like a lot of the tournament teams I thought were really well characterized in the short amount of time they had, which I thought was one of the big things in the arc because it really like you really get to feel like their emotions, what they're going through, which I thought was a big strength. And that's probably why people like it so much compared to other tournament arcs because it actually has all that development that each one goes through. You feel the emotions for the people that the protagonists are actually fighting, and then to come all to a head from when we met Tagoro all the way back at the last part of the Spirit Detective saga, and then all the way to the end, and then to see the whole time what his overall plan was, just to end up dying in that way because he wanted, to die in battle and whatnot, and then like repent for his sins, and that was really cool to see, because you like I did not expect that at all. Like I'm curious to see, did you guys expect anything that would happen with Tagoro, like, or were you guys just
bro. Not at all, bro. Like I remember getting to that next arc and finding out the truth and just scratching my head, bro. Like I did not see that coming, bro. Like
he was so cold hearted throughout. It's like,
yeah, and it's like, man, I understand. I guess he had to play that role in order to get the outcome he wanted. And man, seeing his decision, choosing where he went to go, man, it's just like it was awesome, bro. Just awesome seeing like his redemption. I did not think Togashi could redeem a character like him. I did not think that a character like that cold-hearted, that callous, could be redeemed.
That's facts.
So it was awesome to see Togashi pull that off.
Yeah, and I know Omar actually had a thought, not to just speak for him, but I know you had mentioned that you didn't like Toguro throughout the arc, and at the end you really started to like him and like him as a character, right?
Yeah, because you would think Toguro was just like your typical power only villain, right? But then like afterwards, when you get to his flashbacks about his dojo and all the people that are murdered in there, and the fact that his relationship with Genkai throughout the way, it just linked together, and I was just like, I see where he came from now, and that's why I made him like him so much, and like back to what you said, River, about the teams throughout the tournament, there are a lot of good like players that you would remember, like Jin and Shu, everyone. Like those are like the main people that you would think of, and they show up later too throughout the series, which was nice because I thought like maybe that we won't be able to see them again or whatnot, maybe like a little glimpse here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Toguro definitely like what Sin said about the redeem thing. I was not expecting that, and that his will to do it was hard, rock solid. Like he knew exactly what he was doing from step one. He had to play the role, and he got what he wanted, and he just thought he deserved it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, it was just it was really cool to see all of that, and then like just to see all of that go throughout the arc, and even starting the previous arc, and then culminate. And I thought the end of the arc was really cool to see that finally get finalized and us finally understand. And another thing is like Togashi with his writing, like you could go back and like if you think about what happened. I know saying you rewatched the show, but since we've just watched it for the first time, like there's no real issue with Toguro. Like you can't go back and be like, oh well, he just kind of made this change out of nowhere. It was kind of in his head from the beginning, because you can almost see like some of the things that were said or done. Like I remember, and I'm like, oh shoot, he did say that in a way that would kind of allude to this happening in the end.
Yeah, for sure, bro. The foreshadowing was definitely there. And going back, bro, and rewatching it, it's like you're gonna pick up on so many different things, bro. Like I definitely suggest y'all go back and rewatch it at some point whenever you get free time. Or, at least rewatch the Dark Tournament just to see where Toguro came from, bro. I'm like, where his character culminated as. Beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I definitely have to do that at some point. But like I said, I have a lot of anime to watch, and One Piece is still hanging there as well. So we'll see when I get to it. But
for sure.
How many times have you actually watched it in total? Do you know how many times you've seen it?
I don't know the exact number, but I do know I watched it as a teenager twice, then a little bit later as a young adult. I'd say probably like 4, maybe 5 times if I had to give a good guess.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that definitely shows that you enjoyed the series, because it's, with all the anime that's constantly coming out, just to go back and rewatch it, it can be difficult to find the time for that, So
yeah, bro. Every now and then I gotta go back, man, and look at my favorite anime for sure, bro.
Definitely, I feel you on that one. So I think after that arc, moving on to the dark chapter black arc, I think like you said earlier, saying like it definitely there was a little bit of difference, some more build up, but it almost kind of felt natural, because obviously with the progression of the story, it's like you can't just go straight from action pack to action pack. you kind of had to have some build up in there. So like that was kind of needed to show kind of what happened after the dark tournament, which I thought was another cool thing. Is like the way that they always kind of showed them at school and like what was going on like right afterward, just to kind of give us a glimpse into what their lives were like normally, and just to see that. And then going forward into the chapter Black saga, I thought this was another great arc, and it really doesn't it for me. This is my favorite arc, and like you said, you can't hate on anyone for that. But I mean, it's they're both so top tier that I mean, it's hard to even just pick. But for me, the chapter Black arc was my favorite, and I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts were on that arc, just in general. Like Sam, what were your thoughts on it?
Man, Chapter Black is a beautiful arc, bro. Synsei is a great antagonist. Seeing the different mindsets of Synsei and what he was going through and how broken he was mentally was beautiful. I like the world building in that arc. Threw me off. I don't know if y'all expected this or not, but when we find out that Tagora was like a B,
bro, that was wild.
And that there's A's and S's, and that he's basically a small, like that, and basically in the term, in the sense of demon world, he would be a small fry. That is crazy. Yeah, like that threw me off, son. And then we learned, bro, that this man's like, bro. And then we learn how powerful Synsei is, comparative. And it's just like, bro, I just remember thinking, like, how was Yusuke beating this guy? I just remember asking myself that multiple times. How was Yusuke going to beat this guy? And oh man, bro, this is why I will say that comparatively to Dark Tournament, people can make the argument that this is the better arc. And I like I said, I'm a Dark Tournament fanboy, but I do understand because, bro, this arc was just as hype. It had just the same amount of highs, bro. So it's like, oh man, and just seeing him having this dissociative like disorder, like his identity, like bro, he don't even know who he is really. So it's just like, oh man, bro. And how did y'all feel about finding out that he kind of had the same job as Yusuke before? Like, how did y'all feel with that? That's a question I would have for y'all. Like, when you found out his backstory and like what drove him to like have this identity disorder, this guilt that he had, how did you feel about his character?
Bro, honestly, like that was crazy to me. I was like, wow, like this, like, cause we really had no backstory on the spirit detective, or like how it had went through different people beforehand. We really didn't know, and just to hear that out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, this new villain is that. And then to go into matter of fact, this just reminded me of a moment of comedy that's kind of obviously there's some comedy sprinkled in throughout. And when Yusuke found out that Koema had been hiding that, and he's like, I remember because Koema was pulled up on the like laptop or whatever, or kind of like laptop, and he was like, if you don't tell me right now, you toddler bitch, I'll shove my hand 10 inches down your throat or something like that. And that just got me so weak at the time. Like, that was such a funny moment to remember. But
thanks, bro.
But going into your question, like, it was just crazy, and I was like, it really kind of I don't know like what the word I'm looking for is, but I was gonna say it just kind of resonated with me in a way that like it was so interesting to see how he was turned in from the spirit detective into that based off what he saw, and it was really understandable. Like I almost felt like if I was in that situation, I don't know what I would do either. Like after seeing, because being in like thinking demons are evil, and like that's what you had to destroy demons, and then to find that humans are almost just as bad, if not worse, with the things they were doing to the demons, and then after that you're like, okay, I have to know, like, are they humans really this bad? And then obviously to see all the bad things in the chapter Black film, because I mean obviously you still letting them watch that. I mean it's almost understandable how he would go crazy, just because he was such a cold-hearted individual. Like he was so sure about his beliefs. To just have yourself shook up that badly, it honestly, I really understood how that happened to him. I'm curious to hear what you thought too, Omar.
Yeah, I mean, if it was, let's see. Oh, like that. How I had something on my mind. Yeah. So it's essentially in the case the fact that he's pure. You know what I mean? Like he's pure. That he displayed demons. He had the same thing as everyone else. Demons are only hate, evil, whatever. But then he saw that one night with the humans, and it got tainted. Like his purity was tainted by darkness and by hate, and like the fact that he's like the same thing as them, human wise. Like I'm a human just like these guys, and they're doing these to these demons. And this is when he had his friend too, that was also a demon.
Yeah,
I forgot what his name was, but yeah, his mind started to change a little bit because he started to say that they have feelings now. Like he just slays them automatically since they're like so low that like they're like insane, and then they don't have the privilege to speak. But then once he starts to see someone that can speak and that had the feelings the same that he did, he's like, oh shit, I'm just killing these people just for the fuck of it because Koenma told me they're evil. But like this is where you see the differences between Yusuke and Synsei. That Yusuke, he shared the same thing, but he still stayed on the path. You know what I mean? Like he stayed on the one path that he was like going to take, and then he just branches it. Yusuke goes a different way than what Synsei did. But Synsei, like he's like your typical hero that would turn into a villain because he hated his own race.
Yeah, I thought the contrast between Synsei and Yusuke was so interesting, just to see their
facts.
like how Yusuke was exposed to the same thing Synsei was, and then he was able to maintain what he was doing, and like everyone had doubt in him. Like you just kept hearing that throughout, and it was like, and that doubt was brought back again the 3 games when we found out Yusuke's a demon, and then everyone's doubting him as well. Like, oh well, now you're gonna attack humans and eat humans or whatever. And then it's just crazy to see how Yusuke was able to maintain his path the whole time, and like he never really gave in, and that's one of
For sure.
character traits of him.
And I think that's what's so awesome about Yusuke is he could have went the path of Rising before Rising met, his lover, and went that sadistic demon route and really indulged in those vices and the way of being a demon, and he would have got powerful even quicker if he had really took that path. But he found a balance. He found a way to remain himself and still preparing his way, for that final tournament, which we'll get to. But it's just awesome seeing the constraint, finding out that you're a demon, and you could have easily just went that route. And especially with him being in Demon World, spending time there, he could have ended up bad. Like he could have ended up one of those people, but he had that constraint and he found that balance. And again, that shows a lot of strength in Yusuke as a character, bro. And just another of the many reasons I respect him. But man, that Feast of Human Vices, man, that what's on that tape and what happened, and just seeing Synsei lose his fucking mind and murdering all the attendees there, and just seeing him snap, it's just like, I agree with you. It's like, bro, I question myself, like, man, would I have done the same? Like, would I've snapped out too? So man, it's definitely there's definitely a lot of like psychological factors at hand when you're talking about the chapter Black Ark, for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and that's probably the reason I like it more, is because in terms of like what I like more, I probably like more of the psychological type thing as opposed to the fighting. Like obviously, I like seeing people throw hands, and that's something like everyone enjoys, obviously. But I would say more my thing is more in terms of like the psychological side and seeing how characters develop and what they go through. So that was definitely a lot in this arc, and that's probably why I liked it a little bit better. But
see, that makes sense, bro. What you messing with Attack on Titan like you do, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, like another thing I was just thinking about also is like the other characters that were kind of in Synsei's group. and how they were shown and developed as well. Like throughout, like how he turned them evil with him, but really they were just humans all along. He was just kind of dragging them along, and it was like each one of them kind of realized in their own way like what their place was kind of in the world almost. And just to see that, I thought was really dope as well.
Yeah, bro, because it's like, bro, if you think about it, since we became the very thing he despised,
Literally.
like he literally became that type of person, and he dragged on and influenced other people to follow suit. And it's just like seeing him snap because of that happening, and then come full circle with him becoming that way is beautiful writing, bro. I feel like Sagashi wrote that beautifully. Yeah, bro. It's just like it's like, man, somebody put a mirror in front of this guy, bro, and let him see himself.
Yeah.
Because he's he's no better than the people on the tape.
Yeah, and that kind of obviously came full circle in the end when, he wanted to go to Demon World and just kind of almost feel like what it was like for them. And then obviously he had his illness, and then he was, was going to die regardless, but he wanted to, die to Yusuke because that was kind of who he felt was taking on, that mantle of, Yusuke can do it moving forward. It's almost like Yusuke kind of reminds me of Naruto in a way, to where he's sticking down that path, regardless. And it's just with Yusuke, I felt a little more like he felt like a little more real to me than Naruto did in comparison, just because like you kind of see how his turmoil and like you really feel his emotions throughout, and you see like, okay, he's not perfect, but like he's going to, try to make it where he's going, like no matter what, he has that conviction. But going back to the other people I was, that since we dragged along, I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what the kid's name is. Do you guys remember what his name was? The video game guy, that drove the truck and then had the
Master.
Game Master. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt.
Oh man. What is that kid's name?
Bro. Well, regardless, I guess it doesn't really matter that much. We could just call him Game Master. But I thought that seeing be dragged along.
I think it's starts with a T. I don't remember though. Tsukihito, I think, or something like that. Something like that.
I mean, I can look it up real quick. Hold on, because I know it's gonna bug all of us if we can't figure it out.
It's either, I want to say it's either Tsukishi or like Sukihito. It's something like that though. Definitely. I just remember him being a game master though.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's see.
Here it is.
Oh, you got it?
Sukihito Amanuma.
Oh, Amanuma. Yeah, that's usually what they're referred to.
Yeah.
You got it. So look at that. You rewatched it a few times, so it's good that you can remember that for us here. Because we always struggle with names. Or I do. I'm almost pretty good with names. But...
Oh yeah, I'm terrible at names, bro.
Oh, I'm with you guys there. I'm not good with names for real. It just pops in my head sometimes. That's all.
Like
but if someone says the name, I'll instantly remember everything about the character. But
yeah. Like Omar will just pull some out of his ass sometimes, so it makes you think he's good with names, but in reality.
I gotta show me a picture for me to remember who they are. Not gonna lie. Like when it comes to names, like the main characters, yeah, I know who they are and all that. Sometimes for some shows, but other times you gotta show me the picture of who they are. Now, oh yeah, that's the one dude with this.
Right, you gotta show me the Carfax.
Show me the Carfax. Oh man.
But yeah, so talking about Amanuma, I really thought like seeing how he was manipulated. Obviously, he's such a young kid, and he was kind of cast out. And I feel like there's a lot of us in society, we get cast out as well. As young kids, you might not feel like you have friends like that or whatever. And then seeing how he was brought in by Synsei as almost kind of like a friend and just like his only friend in the world, and then to see how Synsei just kind of took advantage of him. And then another thing that Synsei did, which this man was so like cold-hearted in the things he did, is like he knew that they were gonna have trouble killing humans because he would stick his humans after them, and Yusuke was gonna have trouble doing that. He knew the whole cast was gonna have trouble with that, and it especially kind of came to a head with Amanuma when Kurama had to deal with that, like killing him, and how that kind of weighed on him. It was really kind of interesting to see, and then how they all kind of managed to get through that. And obviously, I think since we kind of knew they were going to revive him in the end, so it wasn't like, oh well, because we kind of know that he got his redemption towards the end, because he really didn't cause like as many deaths as like he could have. Like it almost seemed like he he didn't really do a lot. He just kind of wanted to get to his end goal of being a demon world. But regardless, like what did you guys think about just seeing like how that played a role? Because I thought that was some really cool writing as well, with the humans being sent after Yusuke and the rest of them, and then them having to deal with that.
Man, it was. I felt for him, bro. Sensui was a bitch for that, bro. I just gotta say, bro, like to be so cold hearted, bro, as to manipulate these individuals and then use them, knowing that the spirit detective and his people would have issue dealing with them, because they're humans. Yusuke doesn't. Any other time, Yusuke wasn't minding eliminating demons. They're demons, but now it's like, bro, we got these human beings here, and it's just like, okay, I can't really spirit gun them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't just kill these people. Like, so it was definitely had me on edge. And I think it's beautiful though. It's a beautiful lead in to what was to come, because once Yusuke realized he was part demon, and he realized that not all demons are bad people, then you start to see both sides. It's like, damn, now I don't really want to just kill human beings, but I don't really want to kill demons for no reason either. You know what I mean? Like there's good demons too. You know what I mean? And I think that's the whole thing. And it full circle comes back to the whole premise of the arc and what happened with Synsei. We learn human beings are shitty people too. There's shitty humans, there's good humans. There's shitty demons, there's good demons. There's two sides of the coins for every type of people, every type of race. You know what I mean? And so when we see that, I think it was like using the human beings in that situation was awesome, because now it's like beforehand it would be the demons that they're going after. Now it's like, all right, let's Tagashi's like, let's switch it up and make the humans enemies. So it was definitely interesting, man. And I think in a lot of ways, Sensui was subconsciously probably testing Yusuke. You know what I mean? Seeing, is he going to just kill these human beings? Like, what kind of person is he? What kind of man is he? You know what I mean? And I like to think of it like that.
Yeah, and I think you can kind of see that, because I think Sensei grew to respect Yusuke by seeing like he's not going to do these things, and like he kind of realized Yusuke is one of like the good humans, and I feel like that kind of almost brought Sensui back in a way, because it's like he sees that there really can be good in the world, as opposed to what his thoughts kind of were in terms of all this is bad. But he kind of realized like, so who knows? I mean, it's possible that the reason Sensui kind of turned out the way he did in a way is almost because of Yusuke, because he realized like there really are still good people, and it's not all bad. Like I don't have to destroy the whole world or whatnot. So I thought that was really cool, and just seeing that Yusuke isn't going to do it. Because another thing I was on edge about, like you're saying how you were on the edge of your seat, is like I felt like if Yusuke does kill one human, who knows what road he could take from there, because it almost seemed like it was kind of leading on with that, because you had like Genkai was like, oh well, with the doctor, she was like, oh well, don't worry, like you didn't kill him, and like it kind of was almost showing us like Yusuke could go down that path, like it would be easy, like almost like he could do it, but he didn't. It stayed true. So I thought that was really cool. So I guess we can kind of get into the next arc now, the Three Kings saga, going after obviously since we died in the demon world. I didn't think off of that he really, like I said earlier, he didn't really cause a ton of damage, and he ended up getting the end goal, and it kind of almost all worked out, kind of the same way as with the girl. It was like it kind of all worked down the end, and and this time as well, what's crazy is like I didn't expect Sensui to be actually good again. Like Togashi wrote it in a way where it's like, even though Toguro was just did almost the same thing as Sensui, like I still didn't expect it the second time, even though I was just shown it. I don't know if you guys had a similar experience.
Yeah, bro, I wasn't expecting it once again, bro. I'm like, okay, we had a Tagora moment. I'm thinking, all right, since we just a bad person in general, didn't expect nothing from him really as far as any of that. So, you know, boom. Tagashi hit us once again, bro. With bamboozled me, bro. He bamboozled me a lot of times on Yu Yu Hakusho, bro. I gotta admit.
Yeah, that's Omar. What did you think about that?
I mean, yeah, like for Sensui, it was almost kind of like a way where, just like Tagoro, how he knew what he was doing, he did what he had to do, but at the same time, in the back of his mind, he wanted to be stopped. And I feel like that's how Sensui was thinking. He's like, well, since I have a junior, so-called, since Sensui is Yusuke senior in the Spirit Detective kind of work, he he's like, I want to see how Yusuke would be, how he would go throughout what I'm putting him through. So, like, I like how you brought up with the doctor, because I was going to bring that up myself, how Genkai said killing humans is the one thing that shouldn't be on your mind right now, so that's why that he saved his life. But back to what we were saying, that how Sensui was just thinking about the future, you could say. I mean, if Yusuke wasn't going to stop him with the demons and stuff, he would probably go through with it. But other than that, he was probably expecting Yusuke to do something about it regardless.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was true. And another thing I want to bring up about Sensui is like with his personalities and how he had the 7 different personalities. One thing that I remember throwing me off a lot was when like Yusuke wanted the true Sensui to come out, and it wasn't the one that had been talking from the beginning. Like it was a whole different guy, and I was like, whoa, like the one that was actually out. We really didn't. I don't even think we really got to know about the one that his personality that had been really controlling the situation from the get-go. I don't know if I'm wrong there, but it almost seemed like, dang, this guy really has even, like, it's crazy to think that like just the way he had the multiple personalities, and like you think he's the one person, and the whole time that's not even really him. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, how he had his pure personality, then he had his talkative / smooth talking personality, and he had the personality where he's just straight up crazy, like full of rage. And then he also had his personality that he was in fact a girl about to let his feelings go because he had resentment towards what he was doing. It's just the other feelings. I don't remember the other feelings, but those are the 4 that I remembered.
No, for sure. Definitely threw me off, bro. Tagashi was full of surprises, bro.
Yeah. All right, so I guess now let's go ahead and get into the Three Kings arc. So we're kind of going through all the arcs. I think this one in the beginning, I really liked like seeing how Yusuke dealt with. Oh, we didn't really bring up how in the last arc he became a demon. I kind of slipped my mind for some reason, but how he ended up becoming a demon, and that was like a power up, and like, okay, this is how he's gonna be since we finally kind of got to that point. But now, actually, I completely forgot, but I didn't want to get you guys' thoughts. Like, how did you feel about him ended up becoming a demon after all that time? Like, it just kind of came out of nowhere to me.
Yeah, I mean, when I first thought of it, I thought he was just good with spirit energy, his power and whatnot, because like he was pretty crazy strong for a teenager. But like afterwards, like with the demon, like his ancestor was a demon and whatnot. Yeah, it did throw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie, because like we never knew who his dad was. But then they brought up a thing called an ancestor dad, but that like it can't be his real. It can't be like his dad, because like his mom. I don't know like what his dad would look like. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the demon energy came in, like that's when he knew like the ancestor took control of his body, saying, "You don't know how to use the demon energy. Let me show you how to use it." And then this is when Yusuke was like, "I'm not doing this. This is get out of my body." And you're just like, "What's happening now? Who's the ancestor that's in his body now?" And it's just like that's where the connection starts to come for the next arc about trying to find him and whatnot.
That's
That's my.
okay, yeah. That's something that really resonated with me earlier, Sam, when you said it was like how when he ended up becoming a demon, and then now it's like okay, now he sees like he himself's a demon, so he doesn't really want to kill demons anymore, and all of that stuff. Like, cause I was kind of gonna have a complaint like, okay, well, why did he become a demon that I know? I kind of feel like a almost bullshit power up. But now that I'm thinking about it, it makes so much sense with the story. Like that didn't really click with me before until you said it. Like just to see all of that kind of come to a head, and then Yusuke is now a demon. He has to go through that as well. It just makes so much sense as the path that Togashi was going down, and that yeah, like when you said that, I was like, oh shit, now I really understand why he did that. It makes a lot more sense.
Nah, yeah, for sure, bro. Like Tagashi, man, that's my guy, bro. Probably my, next to Oda, Miura. Um, he's probably my favorite mangaka. Um, those three are like my main, Berserk, One Piece, and Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho are many are shows that are all in my series that are all in my top 10. And I love all three of them. But Tagashi, man, he has a way of writing things and making them interesting, but at a certain point, going in a different direction and still keeping me interested. And I love that. Like, and when I say different direction, I mean different direction than what I expected. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I expect certain things, and then he takes a sharp left, and I'm like, But then I'm like, all right, I like it though. And sometimes it misses, like with the Genkai stuff. I feel like that, But for the most part, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think like taking us down that next path, it was almost a progression of sorts from, what Yusuke had to go through, and just to like the final stage of him becoming a demon. Like it just kind of goes through the progression so well, and then that brings us into our next arc, the Three Kings arc, and how Yusuke, he doesn't really know who he is or what he is at this point because he's so like he's a demon now. Like he didn't know that before, and what he's been doing is fighting all these demons who thought were evil, and now that's him. And it really just threw him for a loop, and he didn't really know how to who he was now. And he wanted to stay in demon world before at the end of the last arc, but he couldn't. And now he's like kind of regretting that he didn't stay almost because now he doesn't really know who he is. Like he's having that mental struggle, and I think that was really cool to get to see that. And again, Master writing by Togashi to show us like what Yusuke was going through, and that's why I thought it had a really strong start to the arc of the Three Kings arc because to see what Yusuke was going through, I thought that was really well done. And then to kind of all culminating in the fact where he went to go see the first spirit detective, and she was like towards the end when he was talking to the demons that came to get him, and he was like, "Oh well, you guys didn't have to lie to me about eating humans because I understand that now. Whatever, it's what you guys got to do." And then she was like, "Oh well, you deserve to go to demon world, like because clearly you can't control yourself. Like who knows what could happen." And that I feel like that hit Yusuke really hard. And then when he ends up going there, like how did you guys feel about that overall thing?
I mean, I felt like it was just like when you were thinking about like how he was reminiscing about what he was gonna do now and from the past. Like he was a spirit detective, he was human. Now the fact that he's a demon now, that it threw him for a loop, you could say. But I also thought about how just like when it was at the end of the Dark Tournament arc, he was thinking to himself how he's the strongest. Who's standing up to me? I can beat anyone. That's how he threw him for a loop too, since he beat Taguro, and then like now he's thinking about like, well now since I beat Sensui, and I'm a demon, how his thoughts are now way different than how it was before, because now he knows that there's demons that are way stronger than him, so he doesn't have to he doesn't think about strength wise, he thinks about his mentality, him as a person whole. Like it changes him. It's just, and the fact that you also bring up that he with the first spirit detective, that they were on good terms, you could say, when they first met each other. Yeah. But then when they went to the forest, and then when she heard all that stuff, how she also turned down that she got a job offer from Koenma or whatnot. not Kawan, but King
Yeah,
Yama,
King Yama.
saying that you should kill Yusuke, but she said, "I'm not a spirit detective anymore. Don't bother me." So she was giving him a chance basically, and they met up, and they talked and all that stuff. And then she said, "You're out of control. You can't just say that about humans because you were one, but now since you were thinking about different ways, you said that so easily. You shouldn't. You should really think before you actually say stuff like that. Like he came out of his mouth so like fast that he probably wasn't thinking about it for real. Since like he's a demon now. He took their point of view,
Yeah, he
and
understood.
now since she said I don't trust you around my kids. That how you said right there too really did hit him. He was like, I guess that's that. I'm going to demon world.
Yeah, he had to figure himself out. And that kind of like, he was like also the strongest like on the planet, how Genkai said, like he can basically decide all of our fate because he was so strong to where at the point where he could basically go against everyone that was still left on Earth, to where it's like now the only people who could compete with him are in Demon World, and that's the level he was at. Like it was almost like in the Spirit Detective saga, you know, at the end there wasn't much of a like strength thing. It was like for him it was like, okay, now it's a girl's there, and it's like, oh shit, like there's this guy now that's stronger. And then for the next Dark Tournament arc, he beats the girl and he's like, okay, I got this, I'm like the strongest. And then like now there's more people that are stronger than him. He's like, what the heck? And then now it's like in his realm, like which is in the living world, there's no one who could compete with him anymore. So who's he supposed to fight? What is he supposed to do? Like he has all that going through his head, and just like his only option is to go to Demon World to figure things out, and he doesn't really have a set plan. Like he doesn't even know. Like he's going to Demon World like without really any thought. Like he's just going because it's really his only option at this point. Like he has to figure things out, and just that was really really interesting. But moving on forward past that, it's almost like once he gets there, we get to meet Ryzen, who I thought was really another great character, and seeing there as almost like a father son, but obviously we don't know, you know, Yusuke's actual dad, but Ryzen was basically his dad for this point, and seeing how that whole thing went with him, and it's just like crazy, like that now he finally meets his dad or whatnot, but it's like that definitely helped him learn, okay, this is the other side of me, and he kind of got to understand it as he's, you know, trained with Ryzen and whatnot. And another thing, real quick before we get more into this, is like I want to bring up that the moment before he leaves with Keiko. I just like that their relationship is really cool and really interesting, and like how he tells her that he's gonna leave and she's all pissed off, and like he ends up going to the ramen shop and then proposes to her, and then his dad and then her dad's like, oh well, he always comes with the proposal when it seems like she's gonna leave, and that's just it was so funny to me. I was like, this boy Yusuke is so goated. Like this man, he just doesn't care, bro. He's just like so many moments of that just throughout the series, and it's just that's another reason I really love Yusuke as a character, for sure.
I agree with you there. Like it got me weak when he was showed up at that ramen shop saying, "You sit next to me, eat half some with me, or it tastes better with you with me and whatnot." With the proposal thing, it just came out of nowhere too, and the fact that the dad said he pulled that out, like this is where you also know like this little stuff that you don't know what Yusuke did when his in his youth. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like this is the first time we heard it, but this like he's probably heard it dozens of times between him and Keiko and whatnot.
yeah, and I think it could have almost been cool to see a little bit more of that throughout the series, like Yusuke, you know, in his younger years, like before. We didn't get to see a lot of that. Like we got hints to it, but I think that would have been cool to see a little more backstory on Yusuke than we actually got. Uh, I thought that would have been pretty nice. But you know, going into the Three Kings arc, like uh, obviously then when Hiei and Kurama were recruited by Makuro and Yami, it was real interesting to see like, okay, so now we got Yusuke with Ryzen, he is with Makuro, and Kurama with Yami, and it was like, damn, are they all gonna like clash at some point? And it kind of that tension that was there, I feel like could have been built on in some way that really it kind of wasn't. It just kind of almost culminated in like what we saw with everything that happened. Obviously, like they didn't really that tension didn't really like overblow, because I feel like what Sin was saying earlier, where he was talking about how it wasn't really ended the best way, and I feel like that there were a lot of things in this arc that could have been built upon, like I said, with the tension between them, that didn't really get to fully come through. And yeah, but what were some of the things that you thought about that, Omar?
I mean, where to begin? I mean, let's see about how huh. We're all gonna say, man. I had something on the tip of my tongue, and now I can't. Now I forgot it. This happens too often. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Bro.
What was the question?
Oh, we're talking about the Three Kings arc, and like
Yeah.
how there was a lot of things that weren't quite like built up upon. Like with what I was saying is that Yusuke was with Ryzen, then Makuro was with Hiei, and then Kurama with Yami, and that tension, like, oh, are they going to fight each other? It didn't really like come through, you know.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I always hoped as a child, as a teenager, watching that, I was like, man, I hope they do like a continuation or a movie or something,
Yeah,
where like, um, or just a movie where they redo the arc, like maybe years later. Let's come back, you know what I mean? When the next one is or whatever, and finish up, bro. But it's just like we never got it, you know. So I will say, like I said, this is one of those reasons too why the ending kind of fell flat. Man, I think there was a lot of things Tagashi wanted to do that he couldn't. You know what I mean? And it was kind of obvious.
yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Omar, did you figure out what you were trying to say? Or...
Yeah, I did. So the first thing I thought of when they all three of them went their separate ways, how they might have to fight each other, because like if Yusuke didn't think about this tournament thing, then it might have actually came out to a full on war if it would took that turn for the arc. Now I was thinking, since Rise is gonna die and Yusuke takes his spot, and the other two kings are strong as hell, like, and the fact that they also got Hiei that is buffed up too, since he got hella strong, and Kurama's right up there too. It's just like the fact that Kurama's the brains, like, he always got a plan for something. So I feel like he was gonna backstab him the whole way. How him and Yomi, he was gonna hit him in the back and say, "I'm with Yusuke," and like he's gonna try to pull Hiei back in. And then like I thought the arc was gonna take a turn for that. You know what I mean? Like how it's gonna be the two kings. Either they get a change of heart or they duel to the death with everyone else, with Yusuke and Kurama and maybe Hiei. Then like if Kurama needed backup, then we see the group of individuals they brought from the Dark Tournament. That's the first thing I thought of when they went their separate ways. And then we saw the backstories for each other, and it was nice to see their backstory. How Kurama used to be the leader of a bandit group, and how Hiei was tossed out of his home since he was a demon child from the clan, and you can see the hate and resentment that came from Hiei when that happened. How Kurama, did you say that he felt bad that he took Yomi's sight with that whole ordeal, or it just came through and through together? That's my thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. And like, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so one thing that kind of was interesting to me is like, when Hiei and Kurama were called by Makuro and Yomi, it was kind of like, why are they calling them almost? Because what we heard was like, okay, there's these super strong like S-class demons in Demon World. So I was like, okay, so if we've learned that Kurama and Hiei are just like A-class or whatever, why is it them that they want for their army? So what were you guys' thoughts on that?
And the first thing I thought of...
Oh, go ahead, Omar. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You can go, bro.
And I was saying, I think, bro, it was due to the potential. You know what I mean? I think that, yeah, at the time on surface level, they are only, these A ranks. However, I believe that they seen potential in Hiei and Kurama to surpass other demons that were more powerful at the time. You know what I mean? For instance, like Yusuke wasn't always that strong, but Yusuke had that potential. You know what I mean? He had the potential to get to that level, and I think it was the same with Hiei and Kurama. I think that they, Yomi and Mercurola, they seen the potential in them, and that's what it was. They wanted to take that, manipulate it, and build it up.
Yeah, gotcha. And like, I guess because of how Yusuke's potential was, like, you kind of always felt that the other three as well had potential, and you can just see that. And another thing that kind of got me about this arc was we basically kind of just ditched Kuwabara, which kind of was sad. I know, Sin, you had mentioned that Kuwabara is kind of your favorite character. And
Yeah, man, that's my guy, bro. Like, it hurt a little bit. You know what I mean? It stung a little tiny bit. You know what I mean? But I kind of understood. Him being he wasn't, as a human being and being who he is, he just didn't seem suited for that art. You know what I mean? There just wasn't a place for him, and I think that's what it was.
yeah, I'm definitely with that. I understand where I was coming from, but I think we definitely could have seen a little more Kuwabara, and
Facts.
not having the ending flushed out. I mean, obviously plays a role in all these things we were saying.
Yeah,
It's hard to just
the ending was rushed, bro. It was rushed, bro. I mean, we got to call a spade, right? Like, it was definitely rushed.
for sure. I think pretty much all the things that we can call out here, just with it not being rushed, kind of would have been almost filled out to the point where it's like you're almost seeing like snippets. Like it'll just go from one thing to the next pretty quick without kind of fleshing everything out. So like we're seeing snippets, and I feel like the arc had a lot of potential. Like I wouldn't say it could have been the best arc, but it could have still been at the level of the Dark Tournament and the Chapter Black Saga if it just had that time.
Yeah, bro. If it had the time and the planning and the execution hit the right way, bro, it could have been, bro. Like, I mean, it could have been up there with those. Like, it was, excuse me, it was there, bro. Like, it was like on the precipice of greatness, bro, and it just fell short, So, it is what it is, though. But I just wonder, like, what the perception of Yu Yu Hakusho would have been, bro, if it was a classic like the other two arcs, you know what I mean? Because it's already people consider it a classic.
Yeah.
It was like, if it did end, like, I won't say perfect because not this perfect, but if it ended amazing too, it's like how much would Yu Yu Hakusho be respected in the community even more? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like kind of if it ended the way that it should have ended, almost you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of sad to see that, but I mean, it at the end of the day, it wasn't a bad arc, and I still definitely enjoyed
Nah.
it, so can't hate on it too much. I think that like, another thing I did want to touch on too is like. How did you guys feel about seeing the backstories of Hiei and Kurama? I know Omar touched on it, but I was curious because, like, with Kurama and seeing how he took Yomi's eyesight, like, he wouldn't have thought about that with Kurama because kind of what we had known from Kurama the whole time was, like, he's this caring individual who's just very, in his thoughts. So you wouldn't have thought, like, oh, he had this backstory. But then it all kind of culminates where, like, he was, went to into his human form, and he had this whole mental struggle throughout, which it would have been nice to see that as well fleshed out. But I think there's a decent job done with that. So, what were you guys' thoughts on their backstory, especially Kurama, and just what he went through mentally with his struggle?
Hey, man. To me, you're just to make sure you're asking about Kurama.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, man.
Struggle throughout this arc.
Yeah, man. To me, bro, it was like beautiful seeing him try to find himself. You know what I mean? Like. Because we kind of got glimpses of this during Dark Tournament, if you remember, with Yoko Kurama and stuff like that. And it was just like, there's like this identity crisis between him kind of in a way, because you have the one side of Kurama, but then you have the other side that was raised around human beings, right? So it's like seeing that come to a peak, and then him kind of like, I guess in a way, it's kind of like he found peace within himself in a way, bro. Like, it's kind of like he kind of found himself. And it was great. It was nice to see, because I could see that he was really struggling with it. during the Dark Tournament, I could just tell. I knew there was more to it, and we didn't really get that context until the last arc. It was kind of funny that we didn't get the real Kurama flashback until the very end of the story. You know what I mean? Like we didn't really know much about like how his parents and how he got brought up, and why there's the red hair and the silver hair, and what is Yoko Kurama and all that stuff. It's crazy that Tagashi built it up so much and then was like, all right, here, now I'll tell y'all and let y'all understand it. And but seeing Karama's story arc, his character arc come to completion, it was fulfilling for me. I liked it.
Definitely, me too. And that's like, in my opinion, like I like Kurama probably the best out of the three guys. Because I mean, Yusuke is my favorite character in the series, but Kurama would probably be the second, just because of everything that he went through. I think that his overall story was pretty beautiful. Omar, did you have anything you thought about that too? Didn't want to leave you out.
I mean, you basically touched it up on everything that I was thinking of about Kurama and such. That he, like, you would think that he'd be, like, sneaky, sly, since he's, like, the fox demon, right? But, like, the fact that he was the leader of the bandits, it was different. The fact that he took Yomi's eyesight. Like, I understand that he was teaching him a lesson, but, like, he must have, like, you could say that he was showing, like, care for Yomi when he took his eyesight. Like, you need to learn how to, like, hold back. Don't rush everything. See, because, like, he's always the one that, like, the troublemaker, that he goes out and then he starts the fight. And Kurama's more the guy that just lay back, get the plan, be prepared fully, and then we go. And like, about Yoko Kurama, when showing up in the Dark Tournament, like Sin said, I like, that was his true form when you first saw it, because like, since he was a demon, he hasn't reached his true demon form, and that he was trying to find himself in this arc, in the Three King arc, and he had a really tough time, because he was also, Yoko Kurama took over for a bit during the tournament in the Three King arc, where he was like, I decided I'm gonna stay human, and then like, that's how he stayed his path the way that he decided that he wanted. That's just what I thought.
All right, yeah. So going off of talking about Kurama, I did also want to like touch on what you guys think of like the like endings to the story for like all the different characters. So like, since we just talked about Kurama, like what do you guys think of like hiei's ending like in the story to start with?
Man, honestly, bro, I think that it ended well, bro. It's just it ended as good as it was going to end. Like, I can sit here and talk about my grievances with the ending like all day, bro. But um, I just feel like it ended as well as it was going to, bro. And I feel like that's like the most I can say about it. It could have been better. But it just is what it is. And that's just the flaw that's going to be that's the flaw of Yu Yu Hakusho. That's just always going to be there. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. Did you have any thoughts on like the like different endings for the different characters, other than Kurama, since you already touched on him?
Um, I think Yusuke's with Keiko and the beach and stuff like that was beautiful to me. I probably have to say that that's the part that I really enjoyed most. Was kind of like that one expectation that we always had, bro. Like Yusuke and Keiko are going to end up together, and
Got to happen eventually.
it has to happen. You know what I mean? So just seeing that moment, I feel like out of all the endings, man, that was probably a bittersweet moment for me, and I enjoyed it. And I'm not a shipper, bro. I don't really like do a lot of shipping when it comes to like anime and manga, but
Yeah,
that sometimes, bro, it's just obvious.
yeah, and especially when you get that build up like all the way from the beginning, and just to finally have it kind of end in that way. So that was pretty satisfying. I would agree. So also like I think just to go into Hiei as well here, like with Makuro, and to see how that went, almost how like they both kind of had a similar, uh, you know, backstory, and then to see it kind of culminate with like them eventually meeting each other and then kind of understand each other. It was a little, I mean, fishy here and there with like how that really worked out, but it was like I think that the way it did work out, I thought it was pretty cool and good in its own right. Did you guys think it was as well, or not?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, bro.
That as well, yeah.
All right, cool. Who? So, uh, I know we already did touch on Kuwabara a bit, but his ending was probably definitely the most underwhelming out of everyone, because it was like we didn't really get to see, what he really did and where path he was going at. Like it was just like, okay, he's gonna be a doctor, and it's just like that was it almost.
Yeah, they kind of just threw us something, bro. That's bro. That's Takashi kind of just threw us a bone there. You know what I mean? He kind of was just like, yeah, this happened. All right, let's show you this. Cool Bar's a doctor. Like that's kind of how it happened. Like, and I was just like, come on, bro. Like that's it. Hey, that's my man. Like that's it, bro. Like I was like, damn, son.
Yeah, it's kind
So it's gonna be that one character that gets the short end of the stick.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately it was him. So I would say like the thing I did like about the ending that I will say is like the fact that okay, they're gonna have a like tournament, year on year, and like the demon world isn't gonna interfere with the living world. Like it was kind of like okay, like we got a ending, and it was like okay, it makes sense. It's kind of made sense, but I thought another thing I thought was like I think it'd be really cool to see like maybe a another part to let's see, like a sequel almost to Yu Yu Hakusho. And I know we talked about this on the last podcast, or I think it was two podcasts ago maybe. But yeah, I was thinking it would be really cool to see like a sequel to it. I was wondering what your thoughts were on that too, son.
Oh, bro, a sequel to Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yeah.
Bro, that's something I would love it, bro. I mean, that would probably, bro, that would be like the Christmas came early, bro. Like, I mean, does it need it? I don't think so. I think they could probably flesh out the ending with like a OVA maybe or a movie or something. Kind of give us that. But does it need a whole nother sequel? No, it doesn't need it. But do I want it? That's a different question. You know what I mean? So, um, if but Tagachi got finished on 100 for that to happen. Like, that's a, so it's just like so we ain't getting that anytime soon, if at all. You feel me? So, but if I had an opportunity to get a sequel, of course.
Yeah, I think it'd be really dope just to see how like the world changes, and then also to see them almost living like just their daily lives. Like it would be just dope to see that, because I like those little moments that we got where it was like, okay, this is kind of how they are in the world that they're living in, just like normally without all the fighting and stuff. I thought that was really cool just to see that. So to see more of that, and then also whatever else was thrown in there. But obviously, like if Hunter x Hunter could get finished, that would be over that for me, just because like that's
Yeah, I would rather Hunter. I would definitely. Yeah, I would rather Hunter x Hunter get finished. I'll be honest. Like, you know what I mean? Not rushing him. You know what I mean? He got health issues and stuff. He got to take care of himself. But if I had a choice, I'm like, let's finish Hunter x Hunter up. Like, you know what I mean? Especially since I know we all would love to get an anime that would cover the rest of the manga. That would be great. Getting the Succession War in anime form to a complete Succession War arc, like, that would be great. A lot of Crollo versus Sokka. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that happens in the manga after the anime ends that everybody wants to see. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are anime only for Hunter x Hunter. So,
yeah, we are.
Yeah. So exactly. So y'all, I'm sure y'all have heard about it. Like how awesome. I'm another one. I'm anime only too for Hunter x Hunter at least.
Gotcha.
I haven't read it, but I know all this stuff that happens. People telling me about it, not spoiling me, but just telling me of the things that happen without giving me details. And I'm just like, bruh, I want to read it so bad, but I know if I read it and it's gas, I'm gonna be mad that it's on hiatus. So
it's gonna hurt so bad. That's the reason I want to read it too.
Yeah, bro, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so I think we're getting close to wrapping up here, but I just want to say like, so one thing that we've been doing is like rating every arc, like giving it like an overall rating out of 10. So I was thinking like we could also rate the whole show out of 10. So what would
For
be your
sure.
guys' rating for Yu Hakusho just out of 10 in general?
All right. Um, completely biased. My biased answer 10 out of 10. Biased answer 10 out of 10. But if I was trying to be somewhat, even though it is still subjective, but somewhat critical and smallly kind of objective in a way, I would give Yu Yu Hakusho probably a 8.5 out of 10. I feel like that's a fair rating.
Gotcha.
It had the ending being how it was just a little bit from keeping me giving it a 9.5. But if I was being, and this is me being very critical, because usually I'm pretty loose with ratings. It's easy to get a 10 out of 10 for me. If I enjoyed it a lot, I'll probably give it a 10. But if I'm being as critical as possible, I'll probably give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, gotcha. What about you, Omar?
I mean, I'm in the same boat of how it's the ending just like puts the rating down a little bit. Like I'm giving it probably close to a 9, like 8.7 to 9. Like that's my overall rating.
All right, yeah, I got you. So for me, it's hard because I agree with exactly what you guys are saying, but it's like I almost want to be the one to be like, yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 9 because I don't want to say the exact same rating you guys are, as well as like.
No, for sure.
And
like I said, that was me being very, very critical. Like me being just regular saying, I say, yeah, sure, it does a 9 out of 10. I don't care. But me being very critical, I would say 8.5. And I think to get an 8.5 at a critical rating is great to me, bro. I feel like that is spectacular. You know what I mean? Because once you get past, when you're critically rating something, you get past 8, it starts to get tough. You know what I mean? It starts to get tough. Like, then what's the difference between an 8 and a 9? Like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but there is a lot at play. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the 9 though. I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, like I think like when you get down to that, it's like you're comparing like the greats of the greats. So it's like there's so much a little more in between, like what
exactly
something that's amazing and not like just a little bit lower. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are like they'll give like their high ratings and they'll almost seem like they'll just want to give things like 7s or whatever. When in reality, it's like you got the whole scale to work with, so it's just spread out a little more. Where it's like they'll be like, oh, 7's almost average to a lot of people. That I feel like, and it's like, well, really 5 is the average. So when you get to an 8, it's like that's great. But a lot of people be like, it's a little bit lower. But in reality, like if you're really looking at it like that, like that's like top tier. Like there's probably only like, I don't know out of how many shows, but you're probably only getting like 30 shows that even reach that 8 rating if you're looking at it critically or whatnot. So yeah, and for me, it's definitely ranks in my top 10. I'm not sure where, but maybe we'll get to ranking my top 10 at some point. I know Omar, I don't know if we'll ever get to ranking his top 10 because
It's tough for me to choose the top 10, man. Out of all the anime I've seen, like the top 10, I might be able to say the top 10 anime that I enjoyed watching, but when it comes to like number 10, who's number 9, second, first, like it's tough for me.
Yeah.
Like I can't choose.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, it's definitely difficult. I mean, obviously I've seen less anime that you have, Omar, and there's definitely less anime that you have too, Sin. So I mean, it's obviously a little bit easier for me than it is for you guys. So I definitely. I would assume like once I really get to be a veteran, I'll know your pain a little bit more.
Yeah. I got a video up on my channel that is top 10. You can go peep at some point. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. My top 10 series. It's basic, bro, but it's because I have so much respect for the series on the list. You know what I mean? So it just is what it is.
Matter of fact, I think I might have already seen that video.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna lie.
For sure, bro. Like it's basic stuff on there, man. Naruto's on there, Yu Yu Hakusho, of course, Hunter x Hunter, Parasite, FMAB's on there. Trying to remember, I can't remember the rest offhand, but like it's a very basic list, but it's because I respect these OG Dragon Balls on there. Like it's stuff that is respectable amongst the community, stuff that you would typically see on an anime list of people that have been watching for a while. But it's just because, man, I respect them so much. You know what I mean?
For sure. I'm with you on that. Guys, again, make sure you go check out Sin's channel. He has a few channels that I've noticed. So make sure you go check out Synsei Inc. and then Synsei. I know it's his second channel. And
For
whatever
sure,
else
bro.
he wants to plug. I know he's got a Twitch too. So
Yeah, Sensei streaming, Sensei Inc. and Sensei. You know what I mean? Go check them out. And I'm definitely, going to shout y'all out as well. So if you're here for me, check these guys out. Like I said in the beginning, hit them with the like on the video, subscribe to them, you feel me? Show them love. And don't just subscribe and not watch the videos, bro. If you're going to subscribe, come back, check them out when they post new content. And help them, get in the algorithm on YouTube and stuff like that, man. Help these guys out.
thank you, man. That's much appreciated. Yeah. And, I mean, I will hope, eventually we might be able to have you back on the podcast because that'd be really dope.
For sure.
It's a lot of fun having you on.
Yeah, bro. I had a blast, bro. I had a blast. Honestly, anytime I get to talk about Yu Yu Hakusho, any anime or manga really that I love, it's a blast, bro. So thank you for inviting me, man, and I appreciate you. You went the right way went about it the right way. You know what I mean? You reached out to me through my email. So for y'all that be wondering about collabs, just reach out to me, man. I'm not gonna be able to get to everybody quickly, but I do see everyone's messages and I will get back to you at some point. So even if I don't get back to you right away, it doesn't mean that I'm dubbing you for the collab, because I definitely will work with anybody. I don't care about the size of the channel or whatever. So do what these guys did, man. They went the right way. They were professional about it, reached out to me. So again, I appreciate you for inviting me, bro.
Yeah, for sure. It was very enjoyable.
Coming on.
Yeah, thank you. And man, so Yu, great show. I mean, it's sad. It's kind of bittersweet that it's kind of our last podcast that we're probably gonna do on it, because it's kind of like, I love talking about it, but obviously since we like to get off topic, we'll probably end up talking about it in the future too. So might not be.
Most likely, yeah.
All right, guys. So thanks for tuning in. If you're coming from Synsei, like he said, make sure you guys check the rest of our content out. It's much appreciated. And as always, we love you guys. Thanks again. We got more content coming soon. So flow out. Peace.
Take care.